Rise by Manuel Arguillia. Slowly, Pablo unhitched the carabao from the empty sled. He laid a horny palm on the back of the tired animal. The thick, coarse-haired skin was warm and dry, like sun-heated earth. The carabao bit quietly, licking with its dark-colored tongue, and beads of moisture that hung on the stiff hairs around its nostrils. Dropping the yoke inside the sled, Pablo led the beast to a young tamarind tree, almost as high as a nipa hut beside it. A bundle of fresh green zacate lay under the tree, and the carabao began to feed upon it hungrily. Pablo watched the animal a moment, half listening to its snuffling as it buried its mouth in the sweet-smelling zacate. A sudden weakness came upon him, and black spots whirled before his eyes. He felt so hungry he could have gone down on his knees beside the carabao and chewed the grass. Eat, he said in thin, wheezy voice. You can have all the grass you want. He slapped the animal's smooth, fat rump and turned to the house, his hand falling limply to his side. Sebia! He called, raising his voice until it broke shrilly. Sebia! No answering voice came from the hut. He bent low to pass under a length of hard bamboo used as a storm prop, muttering to himself how careless of his wife it was to leave the house with the door open. Toward the side where the prop slanted upward against the leaves, the hut leaned sharply. The whole frail structure, in fact, looked as though it might collapse at any moment. But this year it had weathered four heavy storms without any greater damage than the sharp incline toward the west, and that had been taken care of by the prop. As he looked at the house, Pablo did not see how squalid it was. He saw the snapping walls, the shutterless windows, the rotting floor of the shanty batalan, the roofless shed over the low ladder. But these were familiar sights that had ceased to arouse his interest. He wiped his muddy feet on the grass that grew knee-deep in the yard. He could hear the sound of pounding in the neighboring hut, and going to the broken-down fence that separated the two houses, he called out weakly, O Xiang, do you know where my wife and children have gone? Eh? What is it, Mang Pablo? The loud voice of woman broke out from the hut. You are home already? Where are your companions? Did you see my husband? Do you not come together? Where is he? Where is that shameless son of a whore? Andres is talking with some of the men at the house. Ocean, do you know where Sebia and the children are? Why doesn't he come home? He knows I have been waiting the whole day for the rice he's bringing home. I'm so hungry. I cannot even drag my bones away from the stove. What is he doing at the house of Ellis? The shameless, good-for-nothing son of a whore. Pablo moved away from the fence, stumbling a little, for the long blades of grass got in his way. There is no rice, Oshang, he called back wheezily over his shoulder. But evidently, the woman did not hear him, for she went on talking. Mang Pablo, how many cavans of rice did you borrow? Sebia told me you are to cook the rice as soon as you come home. She went with the children to the creek for snails. I told them to be careful and throw away whatever they gather if they see a watchman coming. God save our souls! What kind of life is this when we cannot even get snails from the fields? Pay a multa of 5 cabans For a handful of snails? Ocean spat noisily through the slats of her floor. She had not once showed her face. Pablo could hear her busily pounding in a little stone mortar. There is no rice, Ocean, he whispered. He felt too tired and weak to raise his voice. He sat on the ladder and waited for his wife and children. He removed his rain-stained hat of buri palm leaf, placing it atop of the upper right piece of bamboo supporting the steps of the ladder. Before him, as far as his uncertain gaze could make out, stretched the rice fields of the Hacienda Consuelo. The afternoon sun brought out the gold in the green of the young rice plants. Harvest time was 2 months off, and in the house of Pablo there was no rice to eat. That morning, he and several other tenants had driven over with their sleds to the house of the Senora to borrow grain. The sled had been loaded with the cavans of rice. Pablo remembered with what willingness he had heaved the sacks to his sled. 5 sacks, the rice grain bursting through the tiny holes of the juice covers.